The Scarlet and Violet era has had 7 main sets already, as well as several holiday sets, meaning there have been so many new cards added for us to collect. Today we're going to be looking at 10 illustration rares under $10 that you can pick up potentially for investing or for your collections. And the majority of these cards have had a lot of movement, some of them on an upward trend and some of them on a downward trend in the double digits, and we're going to be looking at them today. So let's dive in. So the first card we're going to be looking at today is Raboot, and this one is a fairly new card. It just came out about a month ago, and it's from Stellar Crown. Raboot is a beautiful looking card. I mean, look at him there in the snow, just doing some keep ups there with the snowball. It is actually a beautiful card, and you know, just fire and ice combination here. Looking at the price of this card, it has declined big time since it released, from $10 all the way down to $3.89, 61% down. Now this price doesn't reflect what it's actually worth, because again, this card has only been out for like a month now. And in all honesty, it will probably climb back up a little bit, but right now, $3.89 for this bad boy, it's pretty good. And Stellar Crown is not one of the easier sets to pull from, so it is a difficult card to get. If you are trying to get this card for your collection, it's better to just buy it, especially at the $3.89 point. So Raboot from Stellar Crown takes the number 10 spot in the top 10 under $10. And coming in the number 9 spot is Arbok from Temporal Forces. And we've talked about this card before. It's actually a beautiful card. Gen 1 Pokemon. Got the moon in the background there. Just about to hunt down the birdie right over here. And this one has actually had a little bit of a decline. It's down about 11% in the last 3 months here, all the way down to 586. If we look at what the 6 month was at, however, it's actually up 12% from a 6 month perspective. But again, this one is going for $5.94, a great card. I haven't pulled this card yet myself, and it's actually quite worth it to just buy it right now. $5.94, it's a steal in my opinion, because the artwork on this one is amazing and it should be worth more than that. So Arbok from Temporal Forces takes the number 9 spot in the top 10 under 10. Next up is Deerling from Temporal Forces. This one is a beautiful card. You see the deer just jumping through the seasons. At least that's what it looks like here. We've gone through fall, winter. I guess that's considered summer. The pinkish one over here, but it's really nice. It's a really nice card. This one over here is up 42% in the last 6 months, up to $6.04. So still under 10 bucks, but up 42% in the last 3 months. It's also up 15.9%. So it's doing relatively well. Its high was around $6.83, so it's gone down a little bit here, but still sitting at $5.73. You can't go wrong with this one over here. It's a beautiful card. Temporal Forces has some really great artwork, and this is one of them. So Deerling from Temporal Forces takes the number 8 spot in the top 10 under 10. Next up is Litten, also Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces is killing it. This is a beautiful card. I personally love this card, and I recently pulled it actually myself. And you can see him just hanging out there. I don't even know which one's the real one. We've got 1, 2, 3 of them. I guess maybe they're all real. One of them's a toy. Who knows? But I just like the concept of him here hanging out on the cabinet and all the books and all that stuff here. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. So this one's going for $6.15, up about 6% in the last 3 months. Looking at the last 6 months here, again, also up 53%. That is insane. Up 53% in the last 6 months. We were looking at around the $3 mark, $4 mark at the beginning here in the last 6 months, and all the way up to $6.35. So still under 10, but making big movements here. Up 50% in the last 6 months. That's pretty big. Even though it's a smaller value card, it's making some big moves. So Litten takes the number 7 spot in the top 10 under 10. And coming in number 6, and this one is actually an interesting one, is Hisuian Growlithe from Twilight Masquerade. This is actually a really nice card, and I honestly really wanted to grab this one, and I was lucky to get it and pull it myself actually. And it's actually been going down. It's been going down quite heavily here, and we're talking about, like, you know, we're around like $10 in August here, and we're down to $6.16. So we're down about 30% in the last 3 months. So this is one of the cards that's on the downward trend. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about some cards that are doing really well and some cards that are just not doing that great. In the last 6 months here, if we look at that point here, we're at 1368. We're still up about 8% from its lowest point here in the last 6 months, so since the card was released. So again, up 8% in the last 6 months, but again, from a 3-month perspective, really starting to make its way downwards here and down to $6.16. It's a great pickup, honestly, $6.16. If you can grab that, I'd definitely go for it, especially if you're trying to master Twilight Masquerade. This is a good time to grab this card because, all honesty, this card is definitely, in my opinion, worth more than 10 bucks. So Hisuian Growlithe takes the number 6th spot in the top 10 under 10. And coming in the number 5th spot is Mienshao from Paradox Rift. So this is actually a really nice card. It looks like he's just hanging out in the trees here. We got some rocky terrain going on over here. It's a nice card. And this one is going for about $6.55. So in the last 3 months, this one is up 51%. Again, another one of those big climbers. 51% is a big deal in my opinion. Again, it's not a expensive or a super expensive card, but 51% is pretty heavy. In the last 6 months, it's also doing really well. We're up 67% from its low of $3.88. So it's almost doubled in price, actually, getting close to that double price here. And honestly, again, this card is probably closer to that $10+ mark. Should not be under $10, but it makes the under $10 mark, and it's the number 5 card in the top 10 under 10. Next up is Magby from Paradox Rift, and this is actually a really cool card. I like him hanging out in the lava, just spitting out some fire there, just doing his thing. It's really cool. I actually saw this, I remember when the Japanese set came out and it was just hanging there. I really wanted to get this card, and I'm still missing it actually from my collection. Looking at its price point here, so it is going for $7.08. It's down about 5% in the last 3 months. Looking at the last 6 months here, also down about 8.6%. So not in the double digits, but still down in general. You can still pick this one up for $7.20 here. Magby is a really nice card from Paradox Rift, and this card takes the number 4 spot in the top 10 under 10. Coming in third is Chansey from Twilight Masquerade, and I actually love this card, and I haven't pulled it yet myself, but it is a beautiful card. We've got Chansey just running there with whatever it is in her hands, and you've got Snorlax just taking a nap there. We got Bellsprout, Psyduck, and Ditto. Again, the idea of having like several Pokemon in a Pokemon card is just really cool, and they nailed it with this one, and it's only going for $8.89, down 52% in the last 3 months. Twilight Masquerade is really taking a hit, honestly, some of these illustration rares here. So I mean, it was at an all-time high of $19.40. Now it's going for like half the price, less than half the price here, $9.02. It is honestly a major pickup in my opinion. This is one that you want to get. It's under $10. It's a beautiful card. I think it should pick up in the future. Again, Twilight Masquerade is going to be one of those sets that does really well in the future. I don't know how many of the cards will do well, but again, we've got the Greninja, we've got Eevee, and we've got a bunch of the waifu cards there that are doing really well. And this one, it should make its way back up above the $10 mark at one point. But this is one you want to pick up. Chansey from Twilight Masquerade taking the number 3 spot in the top 10 under 10. And taking the number 2 spot is Plusle from Paradox Rift. Yes, another card from Paradox Rift. And the Plusle and of course Minun, they're the two cards that if you put them side by side, they look really great together. And this one over here is actually going for $9.54, so just under that $10 mark. It actually had a bit of a dip here because it was above $10, it was about $13, but it's gone down, and it's up about 12%. It's up about 12% in the last 3 months. If we look at the last 6 months, however, it's up about 31%, so it's still doing relatively well. It was down around the $6 mark earlier in the year, and has climbed all the way up and has a bit of a dip now, of course, as well, and up to that 971 mark. So up about 31% for the year. So this is a great pickup, under $10 here. Nice card. Plusle is the number 2 card in the top 10 under 10. And taking the number 1 spot is Minun, also from Paradox Rift. You can't have Plusle without Minun, and this is a nice card as well, just him hanging out there doing his thing, and the guys in the background just screaming there. This one is doing really well in the last 6 months. We're looking at 20%, just under that $10 mark as well. I didn't mention that earlier, but it is doing really well for the past 6 months, that is. And in the last 3 months, it's actually down about 5%. But still, if we look at it from a 6-month perspective, we're up about 20%, $9.89. If you have the Plusle, you got to get the Minun. If you're trying to master Paradox Rift, this is a great time to pick up some of these really, really nice illustration rares that are under $10. So Minun from Paradox Rift takes the number 1 spot in the top 10 under 10. Anyways, folks, that was a quick look at some cards that are going for less than $10 that are illustration rares. There are, of course, many others that are under the $10 mark, but these are the ones that I chose that are personally cards that I like and cards that are actually making some sort of a movement as well in the market. Let me know in the comments section below what your thoughts are on these 10 cards, and if there are other cards that I had missed that potentially should have been a part of this list, let me know. And if you guys like this content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. My name is TRV. You guys are the greatest. We'll see you next time.